On the streets, bro was a professional booster. Started off small, going to TJ Maxx, just stealing, little bags of clothes. He upgraded, hitting up Walmart and Target, you know, go ahead and filling his shirt with a whole bunch of electronics. Upgraded again, making raids out of Best Buy. Bro goes to prison, obviously, for theft. Becomes the chain gang's biggest thief, specifically within food service. Having the biggest heist food service has ever seen in the chain gang. Bro stole the whole kitchen.
All right, good afternoon. This is State of Florida versus Stephen Testa with multiple cases before the court.
Yo, what's good, man? It's your boy, the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast, where I talk about prison, pre, post, and present, and how everything that I experienced throughout my incarceration has forever changed my life. This is the Incarceration. Forever Convict family, we completed the journey to 5,000 subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But that's not all. Now just go ahead and run it up to 10K. We can do it. We hit 5,000 subs within a couple months. So just go ahead and continue to turn up and just get to 10,000 subscribers by February. By the end of February, we can do it. So listen, if you haven't subscribed, scroll down now, hit the subscribe button. And even if you have, share this channel with somebody who's interested in prison content. And once again, Forever Convict family, man, put your story in the comments. If you've done any type of time, whether it be the county jail time, federal time, state time, go ahead and share your experience in the comments. Anything that I haven't specifically spoke on relating to incarceration, let me know and we can talk about it, man. So continue to go ahead and blow up this channel. We are on the journey to 10,000 subscribers. So in prison, there's obviously a lot of theft. Inmates stealing from other inmates, whether it be robbery, like straight up with a knife, or people kicking in people's lockers when they're not there, stealing, or extortion, making people pay rent because they're weak or they're in fear or they just are outnumbered or whatever it may be. Or even when it comes to the incarcerated population, stealing from administration. Anything small to like a nice ink pen to even maybe trying to steal their lunch when they're not paying attention. But today, we're talking about not only stealing and theft, but specifically in regards to food service, the chow hall, the kitchen, and prison. So we got to understand, in prison, the number one commodity is food. Don't get me wrong now, like cell phones and drugs and cigarettes and all that which is illegal, considered contraband in prison, those are obviously like high ticket items. But not everybody's on that type of time. And you kind of got to like jump through hurdles and all that. And you got to be strategic, or you got to be super intentional, to have access to those things. But food is, accessible to everybody when it comes to the chow hall and especially the canteen. So the number one commodity in prison is food, hands down. So therefore, it's also the number one item that people trade. That's money on the compound. People gamble with tunas and soups and honey buns or bags of coffee, or they pay debts, with food because, that's money. You can sell food on the pound for money. You have the canteen prices, but then you also got the price for items on the land, like the land prices. And the prices on the land are normally a little bit cheaper because when you buy from the window, you're swiping with your card. But whenever you buy off the compound, you just barter, So it passes through a lot of hands. So whenever you get food from the gambling table, or sometimes people sell bags, like canteen bags full of food. And because they do it, the bags are normally more expensive than the canteen, just because people can use it as a hustle. But the whole point that I'm getting at is that food is pretty much like the US dollar in America, and when it comes to prison, whatever food item it is, it's used for barter, it's used for trade. And this also keep in mind that in prison, everybody's hungry. Why? Because you only get 3 trays a day. And some states, I hear now, they're not even giving out 3 trays no more. Some states, they kind of like transferred over to only 2 trays a day. And like I heard for lunch or whatever, they give out like little protein bars or little bites or whatever. I don't even know. It hasn't happened in the state of Florida. So me personally, from firsthand experience, I don't know. If you were in one of those states to where they're only giving out 2 trays a day, let us know how it is. Put it in the comments below and maybe we'll talk on it. So in prison, everybody's hungry. And for the most part, even the people are still junked out and using drugs. For the most part, people are more healthy in prison. Just because like it's more structure. You got the police controlling you and telling you what you can and can't do. And people obviously don't have access to like get drunk 24/7 and to be homeless or to smoke crack or shoot cocaine or heroin or whatever 24/7. Even though those things can still be done in prison, it's definitely limited to what it could be if they were free. So for the most part, the majority of people incarcerated are more healthy. They're getting more sleep. They just have time to kind of think and get a little bit more mentally healthy and to take care of themselves. And especially because, we're served 3 trays a day. And you would think that, okay, because maybe some of these people are eating more in prison than they did in society, they wouldn't be hungry. But because the reality that everyone is a little bit more healthy, some people are a lot more healthy in prison, is because now they're kind of like on a regular biological, I guess, like structured clock of how their body's supposed to be. And especially whenever you're bored and you don't have like so many things to fill your schedule with, you're naturally more hungry, I think. Maybe from my personal experience, I definitely don't see myself as being as hungry out here in the free world with so many responsibilities and everything's moving so fast and there's so much stuff that I have to do and has to be done. I'm definitely not as hungry as I seem to be, or like I remember when I was in prison. So in prison, everybody's hungry. The trays that they give you definitely aren't that much. They won't fill you up. And even if you, eat somebody else's food or try to slide back and get 2 trays, at the end of the day, if you don't have canteen, man, it's hard to survive, man. You go to sleep every night with your stomach touching your back. You're starving. You got to learn the water trick, you know what I mean? Drinking, big cups of water, trying to get full on water just to trick your stomach to make you think that you're full. So therefore, food then becomes the #1 commodity in prison. So because that, what does that mean? Everybody steals, and especially people who work in food service. If it's not tied down, people are stealing it. And even if it is tied down, people are going to figure out how to break it off the lock or whatever it's tied to, just figuratively, to get what they want. Man, listen, it's anywhere from small things to like salt and pepper packets or, getting access to the box of salt and pepper and people filling up, gloves of salt and pepper or whatever it is, to hamburgers or chicken or even the liquid eggs. Whatever's in food service is getting stolen. Hands down, point blank, period. So you got different types of thieves in food service. Like I mentioned already, you got some small thieves, and they're just stealing whatever they can get their hands on, kind of small stuff. They're taking petty stuff back to the dorm, like extra hot dogs that they had for dinner, or salt and pepper packets, or ketchup and mustard packets. And they're really just stealing to survive so they can have more food at the end of the night. Or maybe they're bringing back whatever they can get their hands on just so they can sell it in the dorm and just make a few extra couple dollars just so they can get some hygiene or some coffee or whatever. And these are the guys who normally don't have relationships like on the pound of, who have networked and built some, just connections with guys in food service who got the good spots. They're working in the religious diet program, or they're working in the storage room, or they're working in the butcher shop to where all the good stuff is, such as the fish, the tuna, the juice, the chicken, the sausage, all the high ticket items. That's under secure lock and key. Everything is, but that stuff's like behind 2 doors. That stuff's really protected. So all day, every day in food service, man, people are stealing. It's, common protocol when any food service worker goes into food service and when he's leaving, the police who's working food service is always, patting down the inmates leaving, coming and going from food service because they already know what the lick is. I mean, you got guys in food service, they're saran wrapping each other, with saran wrap, and they're getting, strapped. They call it strapped up. They're strapping them up with everything. And, there's obviously, grills and all that in food service. So they cook grilled cheese, grilled chicken and anything you could think of when it comes to food service. They're cooking everything. I'm talking about they're cooking some fire stuff. And they're selling on the pound cheaper than you would buy these freaking $5 cheeseburgers on Canteen. So most people on the pound, when they want some hot food, it costs like $5-6 to get you an 18-wheeler from Canteen or a big ass chicken sandwich. That's what they're called, big ass, A-Z. Big ass chicken sandwiches or, that food from the Canteen, the hot food is expensive. So people would rather spend a couple of dollars on, the diet cook or the cook in food service because that's his hustle, or other guys in food service who they go back there and they steal and they'll go ahead and throw down a sandwich, or, the cook or the diet cook, they'll send out runners and like I said, they'll strap them up and they'll sell all these sandwiches on the compound, $2-3 a piece. They're making, $20-25 a day, so they got a great hustle. So everybody steals in food service. Not everybody, but the majority of people steal in food service. But today, we're talking about El Chapo. Like I was talking about at the beginning of the episode, the guy who was stealing everything in society, anything that he could get his hands on, started out boosting small at TJ Maxx and graduated all the way to Best Buy, stealing flat screens and computers and cameras and anything he could get his hands on. The same guy got the nickname in prison, El Chapo. Why? Because he was the plug. Anything you could think or you could want from food service, not only did he have it, but he had it in unlimited supply. See, El Chapo was a storage room guy. So whenever you're in food service, I was a butcher man for like 3 years at a certain prison I was at. So I already know, the butcher man and the storage room, they pretty much work the same. You got to do inventory every week. So you got to go ahead and order all the food, that the food service people have to order, the company, from the food supplier. So that way the whole compound can be fed what they need based upon the menu. So you have to know the menu. You have to know how much product needs that the prison needs to serve each meal. And of course, you got the food service workers and the supervisors, they're checking and everything. But some of the food service workers and the supervisors, they don't understand fully, what is needed to serve the meal. But also too, just like with anything, there's always a loophole. And not to go in too much detail, but there's definitely loopholes when it comes to the guys, filling out the inventory of how to lie and how to, misplace things so that way they can order more. So El Chapo, on the regular, he would always have things ordered more. So every single week, the food truck comes. And when the food truck comes, everybody in food service, they all have to get forced to unload this huge 18-wheeler full of food. And everybody hates it because they got to carry a whole bunch of stuff. So normally the police will run down everybody in food service and make them all go out there and make everybody unload the truck. But a lot of people love food truck day. Why? Because everybody's stealing off the food truck. And because in prison, there's limited officers, there's limited, staff to watch everybody. They normally only have one officer and a few food service workers. But they got like 20, 25 inmates. So, they can't watch everything and everybody. So they're really just trying to secure like the high ticket items. But man, normally every food truck day, someone's going to jail or someone's getting caught or multiple people are getting caught stealing. And that's what everybody does. Everyone's stealing juice or the sardines or, they'll even steal like a whole case of frozen hamburger patties. And it's frozen now just so they can go hide it somewhere else in the kitchen. They can cook it later. So when food truck day comes, everybody's stealing. And it's funny because during food truck day, if you go to the bathroom or the swill room where they throw away like all the rotten food and they, send it out to the pigs on the farm and all that. If you go to the swill room or if you go to the bathroom during like the food truck time, you're bound to see somebody in the bathroom or the swill room, with their shirt off or even their pants down, and they got somebody else just taking the saran wrap and they're just strapping them up with a whole bunch of food supplies, whatever it is. Like I said, sardine or juices. I'm talking about they strap them up from the legs, whole body, and they put the blues back on and they try to go ahead and bust out the chow hall without getting searched and make it back on the compound and make it back to the dorm so they can sell what they stole. And of course, split it up with the people who they stole with, their partners. So back to El Chapo. Listen, he was so smart. What they would do is they would organize this crazy heist with the food truck. They would pay a crash dummy to make it seem like he was trying to steal like a big ticket item. They would forfeit a big ticket item like a box of sardines or something. And they would have this crash dummy. They pay him whatever. They already would make an agreement with them. Listen, if you go to jail, if they would keep you back there, we'll shoot your food. We'll take care of you while you're back there. And they'll pay him whatever they paid him for to crash out. So this guy, the crash dummy, he would act like he's trying to steal this box of sardines. And he would purposely get caught by the officer or the food service worker. So when they catch him, they'll be like, hey, we know you're trying to still get that back. And he would just nut up. He would go crazy. He would throw it and start arguing or whatever. And he would just make a big scene. And the reason why he would make a big scene was why? And he's a decoy. He's trying to get everybody's eyes and everyone's attention on him. But that's all El Chapo and his boys need. Because the moment that the officer and the food service workers are focused on this one crash dummy who's making a big old scene, they already made the move that they needed to make. And there's already like 8 to 10 boxes missing of these high ticket items. And these high ticket items, they're gone within seconds. They already got people from other side of the pound. They're already all into this, and I'm not going to go into the details to expose the plan and how they did it, but just know that they had people from the pound and they had a certain route and they got it to where all those packages of these high ticket items like other sardines and the concentrate juice and all the stuff, which is expensive now. And it's like the best stuff that people be buying, and buckets of peanut butter. That stuff's super expensive. It's 5-gallon bucket of peanut butter. They'll have multiple of these items gone within seconds. And by the time the truck's done and they're doing inventory, El Chapo's like, yo, we're short this, and that. And they already know. The food service knows they got hit. Now, you would think that because this happens on a weekly basis, that they would have to figure out what's going on. But El Chapo was so smart. He didn't do it every single week. And if he did, he would fluctuate in the amount of things and how much they would steal. And of course, he would steal all throughout the week as well. But listen, El Chapo was stealing so much from food service that everybody on the pound, that's what they called him, man, El Chapo. He was smart. He wouldn't let anything really pass between his hands. He had his workers running stuff for him. But people on the compound, if they wanted to buy a 5-gallon bucket of peanut butter, they could. He would sell it for, I think, like $100. And the guys in the dorm, say like a group of guys in the dorm, they all hang out, they do time together, they cook at night or they work out together, whatever. Everyone puts up $5. They come up with $100 and they get a big old 5-gallon bucket of peanut butter. And that probably lasts them, a week, 2 weeks. And everybody's eating as much peanut butter as they want, all week, for their workout meals or whatever. So, man, listen, El Chapo changed the game when it comes to food service heist. He was that dude when it comes to theft. But at the end of the day, man, no matter how much they stole or no matter how much people eat, even myself, whenever I eat food from food service, if I buy, one of these stolen hamburger sandwiches or whatever it was, of course, it's good for the moment, but just in time, you're left hungry again. The whole point that I'm getting at is that no matter how much somebody steals, no matter how much somebody attains, you're always left unfulfilled. And obviously in prison, people, who come from, criminal lifestyles, we've been deceived by that lie, thinking that the more that we have, or if we get over or we buck the system, there's that, slight little bit of pleasure. But at the end, man, it's fleeting. It's not fulfilling. Only Jesus can fulfill. And one of the greatest lessons I learned throughout my incarceration was contentment. was learning how to be content with absolutely nothing, even though it was difficult at times. And don't get me wrong, I was blessed throughout pretty much the majority of all my bids. You know, I had my people looking out for me with money on the books, and I was never really starving for a long periods of time. But of course, man, anybody in prison is hungry. And there was definitely times when I went without. But ultimately, just the entirety of my incarceration, the Lord definitely drilled home to me how to be content, but also to remembering that no food, no money, no success, nothing in this world brings fulfillment apart from Jesus. He alone fulfills, man. So once again, Forever Convict family, we are on the journey now to 10,000 subscribers. So thank you again for helping the channel reach 5,000 subs. And let's continue, man, to blow up this channel. Let's get to 10,000 and let's keep going. So listen, Forever Convict family, if you've done any amount of time, whether it was in the county jail, state prison, or federal prison, man, share your stories, put it in the comments. Anything that I haven't talked about that you want me to talk about, let me know. If you had a different experience or something I've already mentioned, man, let me know, dog. Go ahead and put it in the comments. And also, too, if you do not know, I am a rapper. My artist name is E.I. the King. I have a whole nother YouTube channel. It's E.I. the King on YouTube. It's my official artist channel. And I also have a Patreon where I have exclusive, never before seen prison footage. So go ahead and look in the description below. You'll see all my links to Apple Music, Spotify, my Patreon, all that. And the majority of my music as well, man, was written while I was incarcerated. So it gives you a deeper look inside my incarceration. So this is your boy E.I. the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast, where I talk about prison, pre, post, and present, and how everything that I experienced throughout my incarceration has forever changed my life. This is the Incarceration.